Hello and welcome everyone to another episode. Yes, so we have started fresh in our modded series, and I think I should show you guys a little bit of what we are looking at. I do have the TAC Life Support mod installed, and all kinds of just crazy stuff. So, a few of the things I guess I'll show you for right now. There's a few other mods that I was considering adding, and if anyone has any recommendations, I should say you definitely need to leave them in the comments, because if you tell me now, it's a lot easier for me to implement and use that mod as opposed to you telling me after 30 episodes. So anyways, we got a few different things here. I have the space plane mod installed as well. I'll put this right on top there so you guys can see it. Everything's looking pretty good. There's still a few things I need to install. I should mention that. One of them, I really got to see if the welding mod is up to date, but we have the near future parts pack installed, and I believe there's a few other things. I honestly don't really remember every single mod I installed, but the one thing I will say with the spaceplane mod is you do get structural fuselage pieces that have both a liquid fuel and oxidizer. One of my major complaints was with the original parts that we would get. I mean, you get this part here and it doesn't really fit in with anything. I should go back and get rid of all of this. You know, we got this piece here, which I thought was amazing because this kind of opened up the door to shuttles, but we don't really get anything as far as our regular parts where we can, you know, or yeah, it was this piece here, this one that didn't really fit in anywhere. I mean, it has kind of the same structural pieces where they meet up in the back, but it really just doesn't look good. And not to mention, it only carries liquid fuel, so that kind of is an issue when you're trying to build a shuttle. So with this stuff, you get liquid fuel and oxidizer. A lot of the parts are just kind of copy and paste of the original parts with just a little bit better texture, I would think, and the tiles have, I think these tiles look a little bit better than these tiles, and that's just my opinion. I don't really know if you guys, but yeah, so we'll jump over to control. We have some of the normal stuff, the radial SAS, really nothing that serious, and the only other thing I really like, I can't really tell you which mod it came with. You'll have to just kind of search through the mods that I have listed, which I don't know if it's going to be updated at the end of this video, but, well, I should say when I upload this video, but I will definitely get that list updated within a couple days, if not the same day. I really don't know. So we got under our structure too, a lot of the stuff I believe is from the near future parts because it has the hydrogen and argon and helium, and these are basically just structure pieces with storage for fuel or whatever you want to put in there. And I think this is some of the more awesome stuff that should be implemented in the game, or at least have some kind of variant of that. I just think it looks really cool. It would add a little bit of flair and stuff like that to your station. But yeah, so that's where we go with structure. Aerodynamic, I installed the airship mod, and I don't plan on using it for a lot of things, but you guys can see the airship mod. You know, you can just set this up right off the launch pad. You'll just take right off as soon as you change the buoyancy, and it's pretty awesome. I haven't really messed around with it too much, but I have kind of done a few things here and there. I don't really know what I'm going to do with that, but I was thinking maybe something for Jewel or Duna or Eve, possibly. I really don't know. And we have the Kethane pack and the Habitat mod installed, which the Habitat mod, I will say, is pretty freaking awesome. And we also have the Greenhouse mod. I can't really tell you which one it is. Once again, I will put these all in the description, if not soon. So just bear with me on this. But the habitat mod is looking really awesome. The one thing I will say is this is small, but it inflates to become a lot larger. And yeah, I know that's what she said. And we have a different module, which is kind of different. I have to say it's kind of different because on my massive ship that I built, I ended up putting 4 of these on there when these are a little bit smaller, but they also are newer. But it's looking pretty good. That's all I gotta say. There are a few other things, I believe. I don't know where they are. This is another part of the spaceplane pack as well. A couple of these parts here. This is like a Clampotron, and it's built in to, you know, I can't open any of the stuff. Some of it works in the VAB and some of it doesn't. So this is another part that I find is just absolutely awesome, and I can't believe it exists or whatever, but this is an actual cargo bay with opening and closing doors that you can use on any of your launches, and I believe there's a few different sizes. If not, there might be just one size, but you know, we can put solar panels on here, and these are a little bit different solar panels. The one thing I was looking for is a really massive solar panel that I see featured on a lot of different mods, but I can't seem to find it. It almost looks like the ISS solar panels. So you can see we got our TAC life support stuff here. This is all pretty much just containers for food and all that other good stuff. And now it comes to the really fun and, if not, annoying stuff. There's a new sat map mod. I don't really know exactly what it's called. Once again, it'll be in the description. You can check that out. And it just comes with a plethora of different, most of the stuff. It's just all kinds of different things. This guy and this guy and this. I don't even know what half of this stuff does, and it's kind of sad. But yeah, there's just a lot of different things involved, and you can see we have our keythane stuff up here. And then we have our remote tech. I'm kind of trying to go with a little bit more of a real feel with this modded series as opposed to my last one where I didn't have TAC life support, I didn't have the remote tech, I didn't have any of that stuff really installed, and I was looking forward to maybe playing a little bit more of a legit style game. It's going to be a lot harder for me because I don't know optimal satellite configurations and a lot of different stuff like that, but we need to get a satellite off the ground and get our first satellite up, which it's, from what I've been experiencing, it's a little bit harder now that if you're launching a satellite that's unmanned, it's a little bit harder to get your satellite into orbit and have it be efficient and everything else. You kind of got to trade off a little bit of efficiency with a few things just because the satellite range doesn't reach. So you have to kind of improvise and how you get into orbit. So anyways, guys, I'll see you on the launch pad. Alright, so let's get this guy off the ground. I am basically using all... Oh yeah, I think I should kind of cover some of this other stuff. While we're here, I gotta turn this down. Bring this down a little bit. This is another thing. Actually, no, I'll bring this back and then turn this down because these guys are a little bit loud and I don't want it to kind of be an interruption on a constant basis. So the one thing I will cover before we take off, I have the navball mod installed, which it allows you to do a few different things. You can notice that the navball is in the normal spot. You can move it wherever you want, which I find to be absolutely amazing. I keep it right over here because I just like it over there. This does kind of get in the way, but I'm trying to figure out if there's any way I can move this in any possible way. That would be nice. I would like it if I could keep everything kind of on the top here, but whatever. You know, this one I have the Kerbal alarm clock, which I really don't know how to use. I'm going to have to look into that a little bit more. And yeah, the chatterer, whatever it's called, yeah, that's pretty much everything. So let's get off the ground. So I've been kind of trying to do this a little bit more vanilla. If ish, you know, where I'm actually trying to get a satellite network set up and get all this stuff set up. I don't know how far I'm gonna go with you guys on showing how to set up the network. I don't know if you guys want to see more of this. I might do another video just kind of doing some of this stuff here and there. We need to be reaching the geosynchronous orbit, I believe, or, well, it'd be the Kerbal synchronous orbit, which is like 2,833,000 kilometers, or I mean meters. So yeah, the other thing you might notice is all this white stuff that's kind of in the way right now. I do have the visual enhancements mod installed as well. Oh god, this sounded like something exploded. Yeah, no, I do have that installed. I have been having fun with a lot of these new mods and such. Everything is just really, oh god, there we go. Everything is just kind of new, so it's a little, just a little bit annoying to kind of figure out and understand. It's a bit of a pain in the butt to really figure out. That's the one thing I do have to say. It's just been unbelievably hard to understand how to set up a network. I think I've already said this before, but I just did not know how hard it actually was. And yes, that is what she said. So yeah, this is, oh yeah, the Keythane as well. I forgot to cover that as well. You have Keythane installed. I don't really care so much because I've already showed you guys Keythane. Most everyone who has something to do with the modded portion of this game in any kind of way knows about Keythane, so it's nothing really new to a lot of us. So figured I'd cover all of that. If there are any other mods, there's the Interstellar mod, and I was looking at it, and I'm not really sure if I want that or not. It's not that I don't like it, I just don't want it to branch out to far extremes. And I don't mean to say that in a bad way, and I might be letting some of you down. But I don't want to branch out to too far extremes where the game just gets so openly vast and just there's so many things to do that I wouldn't even know where to start. I generally like to stay around Kerbin and just kind of build around Kerbin and just kind of do different types of really massive builds, and we should get our satellite, our antenna out here. That way we don't lose connection. There's a smaller antenna on here, and this one is for basically just takeoffs, and it works very well, especially if you don't have anything actually in orbit yet. So that really does help out. But then this bigger guy is for a little bit longer range, and it works out pretty well. And then this guy, obviously, I think can reach Duna. So I'm looking to put these into orbit, have these really powerful satellites in orbit, you know, at the Kerbal synchronous orbit or whatever you want to call it, and that should work out pretty well for us. I really do hope so. But we have ran out of fuel, so we'll get rid of this and continue on. Now, I do think that this stage here is a little bit, just a little bit excessive. We don't have, or we have more than enough fuel, but I really don't know if anything bad's gonna happen or whatever. But usually I kind of come a little bit over-prepared. I'd rather be a little bit over-prepared than to be unbelievably under-prepared. So that's kind of my methodology when it comes to that kind of stuff. So we have reached at least outside of the atmosphere. Almost. I mean, right now we're not, but our orbit has, so I'm just going to try to round this off. The main problem is right now is I need to get to orbit as quick as I can, because once this line is broken, which once we hit about right here, that's when it's actually just, it's TKO. We're done. We have to relaunch because we're going to lose our satellite. It's going to fall out of orbit. So that's pretty much the only way it can be done. The only other way would be to launch straight out and just kind of keep going straight out and then kind of fix the orbit a little bit later, launch at a higher altitude, I guess. But, you know, this works out pretty well as it is. You just gotta keep throttling it and changing your overall orbit. Plus, not to mention, we are going to be going further out as it is, so it's not like it's that much of a big deal. But yeah, all we need to do is hit that magical number, which is 69,900, I believe, where you're actually outside of the atmosphere completely. But we have surpassed that now. We can just go all the way up to 2.8. I'm probably gonna take some time doing this, so anyways, I will see you once we hit our optimal altitude. Alright, so we haven't reached our optimal altitude because it's like 2.83330, something like that. I don't plan on doing it in this episode, at least not 100%, because it's just going to take unbelievably long to do that. But I got us to where we want to be. I'm going to probably wait a little bit here, otherwise I might just leave this in orbit as it is, and then set it up, at least set up the rest of the orbits based around this one, and kind of, you know, put one at equal distances all the way around. That way we can get somewhat of a circle set up. That way we aren't going to lose communication. If anything, maybe I'll put one on the exact opposite side, or maybe just do 3. That might work. I really don't know, but we'll try with something like that. I really don't know what we'll get, but yeah, we'll figure something out. So this is kind of my very basic design of a satellite. I really don't know if this is like a really great design or if it's kind of not really that great. I'm going to be testing things out afterwards, and if I come up with a better one, I will definitely show you guys. So one thing I will show you right now is that when you want to get in contact with the Kerbal Center, this goes as far as setting up your satellite. Some of them will just be default to the Kerbal Center or whatever. Like this one will default strictly to the Kerbal Space Center or whatever you want to call it. These don't really operate based on which way they're pointing, which I don't know, for some of you might be a little bit upset with that, but I haven't really noticed anything as far as, like, if they're not pointed in the right direction or what have you, it doesn't work. I haven't really noticed anything like that, but they work out pretty well. And when it comes down to setting up something like this, you would choose, I'm pretty sure you guys watch, if you were watching when I sped up most of this, you can just kind of choose where you want this to be pointed to, and then where that kind of stems out. I'm not going to change it right now because I'm afraid we might lose communication with the Kerbal Space Center, which wouldn't be good. And you can just set it to wherever you want, the sun, wherever you're going to go on mission. Now this is a larger satellite, so you are able to change certain things, and that's kind of where I'm going to leave it with that. But overall, pretty amazing stuff. I'm really liking this, and I'm actually pretty psyched and pretty happy about going forward with all this. So anyways, guys, if you like what you see here, subscribe. There's always more to come. To you new people, welcome. And yeah, I will see you next time.